The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly, broken only by the soft blue glow of instrument panels inside the research module. Jae-hwa Kim sat motionless, his eyes fixed on the complex holographic displays dancing before him. Outside the reinforced windows, distant stars flickered like tiny pinpricks of hope against the infinite black canvas. Something felt different today. The usual silence of deep space research had a strange tension, an unspoken presence that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. Jae-hwa had been tracking unusual energy signatures in the Orion sector for weeks, mapping anomalies that didn't quite fit conventional astronomical patterns. His fingers moved across the holographic interface, sweeping through layers of data. Quantum sensors picked up minute vibrations. Something was out there, watching. Not just observing, but studying with an intensity that felt almost calculated. At first, he thought it was a sensor glitch. Research modules often experience technical interference, especially during long-duration missions. But this was different. The movement was too precise, too deliberate to be random electromagnetic noise. A faint shimmer caught his peripheral vision. Just for a millisecond, a silhouette appeared against the starfield. Humanoid, but definitely not human. The figure seemed to blend with the surrounding space, almost like a living camouflage technology far beyond current human understanding. Jae-hwa's breathing slowed. Years of training had prepared him for unexpected encounters, but nothing could truly prepare someone for a potential first contact scenario. His hand hovered near the emergency communication panel, hesitating. The figure, clearly feminine in its structural design, remained motionless. No aggressive movements, no sudden shifts. Just pure, calculated observation. Her technological integration with the surrounding space was so seamless that she appeared more like a living extension of the cosmic environment than a separate entity. Quantum encrypted data streams began trickling into the module's systems. Complex algorithms that seemed to pulse with an intelligent rhythm, not random transmissions but carefully constructed information packets. Each stream carried fragments of mathematical sequences that seemed to challenge human computational limits. Jae-hwa realized he was being assessed. Not threatened, not confronted, but methodically evaluated by an intelligence that operated on an entirely different level of perception. His research focus had always been xenoarchaeology, studying potential signs of extraterrestrial civilizations. But this was no archaeological discovery. This was a live, dynamic interaction happening in real time, with an entity that seemed more interested in understanding humanity than making direct contact. The female figure's biomechanical suit, if it could be called a suit, seemed to breathe and adapt with the space around it. Subtle color shifts, microscopic structural changes that would be invisible to an untrained eye. She was gathering information, not just visually, but through complex sensory mechanisms that likely interpreted reality in ways humans couldn't comprehend. Temperature readings in the module fluctuated slightly. Quantum entanglement indicators began showing unusual patterns. Something was actively scanning, probing, analyzing every millimeter of the research space. Jae-hwa's academic training battled with his instinctive human curiosity. Protocol suggested maintaining distance, recording data, avoiding direct engagement. But something deep inside him wanted to understand, to communicate, to bridge the impossible gap between human perception and this extraordinary presence. Minutes passed. Or were they hours? Time seemed to lose meaning in this suspended moment of potential first contact. The observer remained perfectly still, her presence both threatening and fascinating. One thing became crystal clear: humanity was being watched. Not with hostility, not with aggression, but with a clinical, almost scientific curiosity that suggested something much larger was at play. The research module hummed softly, its systems continuing to record every microscopic change, every quantum fluctuation. And beyond the reinforced windows, against the infinite blackness of space, the mysterious observer continued her silent, calculated watch. The research module drifted silently through the cosmic expanse, its systems humming with a quiet intensity. Jae-hwa noticed the first strange artifact 3 days after the mysterious observation. A small crystalline object materialized inside his primary research chamber, defying every known law of physical transportation. At first, he thought it was a hallucination. Research missions could play tricks on the mind, especially during long isolations. But this was different. The crystal pulsed with an internal light, its geometric structure too perfect to be natural, too complex to be random. Quantum sensors went crazy. The object seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously, its molecular structure shifting and adapting. When HFY attempted to analyze it, the crystal would momentarily disappear, then reappear in a slightly different location. More objects followed. Molecular fragments that seemed to carry encrypted information. Tiny technological components that looked like they were designed by a civilization centuries beyond human capabilities. Each artifact appeared without warning, leaving no trace of its method of arrival. The research team back on Earth grew increasingly concerned. Transmission logs showed nothing unusual. No signs of external interference, no unexplained energy signatures. But HFY knew something was happening. The artifacts were not random. They were a message, a test. One particularly strange artifact looked like a miniature neural network made of an unknown metallic compound. When HFY placed it under the microscope, it seemed to react to his observation. Microscopic tendrils would extend, retract, create complex patterns that resembled living mathematical equations. Communications with mission control became increasingly difficult. Data packets would arrive with strange compressions, information that seemed to rewrite itself moments after being received. The research module's computer systems began showing signs of unexplained modifications. HFY started keeping a detailed log. Each artifact was carefully documented, photographed, analyzed. But the more he studied them, the more he realized these were not simply objects. They were pieces of a larger puzzle, fragments of a communication method beyond human comprehension. The feminine silhouette he had seen earlier continued to appear intermittently. Always watching, never directly interfering. Her presence felt like a constant background signal, a subtle reminder that he was being observed, tested, evaluated. Strange energy readings began to manifest around the research module. Quantum entanglement indicators showed impossible connections, suggesting that the artifacts were somehow linked to a larger network. Something was using these objects to gather information, to understand human technological and cognitive capabilities. HFY's colleagues back on Earth grew skeptical. Without concrete evidence, his report seemed like the ramblings of an isolated researcher experiencing space-induced psychological stress. But he knew what he was experiencing was real. The artifacts started to become more complex. Some appeared to be partial technological blueprints, showing glimpses of advanced engineering concepts. Others seemed like fragments of a communication protocol, mathematical sequences that hinted at a language far more sophisticated than human communication. One night, during a routine system check, HFY noticed that the research module's computer had subtly reconfigured some of its core operational parameters. Not a complete system change, but tiny, almost imperceptible modifications that improved overall efficiency. The research module's interior suddenly felt impossibly small. HFY's hand trembled slightly as he activated the primary communication channel. Weeks of silent observation had led to this moment. "Who are you?" he transmitted, his voice cutting through the module's sterile silence. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, a holographic form materialized, the female figure he had glimpsed before. Her body wasn't solid, but a complex network of interweaving light patterns that seemed to breathe and pulse with an intelligent rhythm. "I am an observer," she responded. Her voice wasn't sound, but a direct neural transmission that translated into words inside HFY's mind. "Your species represents an unpredictable variable in galactic systems." The hologram shifted, revealing complex data streams that danced around her form. Mathematical equations, biological patterns, and technological schematics swirled like living information. Each movement suggested layers of meaning beyond human comprehension. "Unpredictable how?" HFY asked, his scientific curiosity overriding his initial fear. She highlighted human historical data, wars, technological leaps, cultural transformations. Humanity appeared chaotic, destructive, yet simultaneously innovative. Where other civilizations followed strict evolutionary patterns, humans seemed to break every established rule. Most species follow predictable developmental trajectories, she explained. Your civilization does not. You create solutions through chaos, through unexpected connections. Jawa watched as historical timelines transformed, showing human progress. From stone tools to quantum computing, from tribal conflicts to global communication networks, humans consistently defied expected limitations. The holographic figure moved closer. Not physically, but through some complex quantum projection that made Jawa feel simultaneously observed and analyzed. Her technological presence was both fascinating and slightly terrifying. We have been monitoring your potential, she continued. Humanity represents an anomaly. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Potentially valuable. Complex holographic simulations began displaying potential future scenarios. Some showed human civilization's destruction, others revealed extraordinary technological breakthroughs. The outcomes seemed to shift randomly, defying standard predictive models. Jawa realized this wasn't just an observation. This was an evaluation. Humanity was being judged not by its current capabilities, but by its potential for adaptation and innovation. What do you want? He asked, understanding this might be humanity's first genuine extraterrestrial communication. The hologram pulsed. Information streams accelerated, creating complex geometric patterns that seemed to contain entire conversations within their structure. She was communicating multiple layers of meaning simultaneously. We need to understand, she transmitted. Your species could be a critical variable in an approaching galactic conflict. Your ability to improvise, to create unexpected solutions, makes you both a potential threat and a potential ally. Quantum sensors in the research module began recording impossible data. Information that seemed to exist in multiple states, defying current scientific understanding. The confrontation was becoming more than a simple communication, it was a complex technological and intellectual exchange. Jawa felt small. Humanity's entire existence was being compressed into this singular moment of cosmic assessment. One species, among billions, being evaluated by an intelligence that operated on completely different perceptual levels. And if we fail your assessment, he asked, wondering about the potential consequences. The holographic figure didn't respond immediately. The silence felt weighted, filled with unspoken potential scenarios. Then, a subtle shift in the data stream suggested something between curiosity and respect. Failure is also a possibility, she finally transmitted. But with humans, failure often leads to unexpected innovation. The confrontation wasn't ending. It was just beginning. The holographic woman began revealing humanity's unique place in the cosmic ecosystem. Her projection transformed, showing complex simulations of different alien civilizations, each structured, predictable, following precise evolutionary patterns. Humans appeared differently. Like a wild, unpredictable thread weaving through structured technological tapestries. Where other civilizations developed linearly, humans jumped technological generations unexpectedly. One moment struggling with basic transportation, the next developing quantum computing and advanced neural networks. Chaos is your fundamental strength, she explained to Jawa. Her transmission carried a tone of something between scientific fascination and cautious respect. Most species optimize. Humans innovate through disruption. Historical examples materialized around them. The rapid technological progression from Wright brothers' first flight to moon landings within merely 66 years. The quantum leap from basic computing to artificial intelligence in less than a human lifetime. Each technological breakthrough seemed to emerge from complete uncertainty. Jawa watched, mesmerized. The holographic simulations showed how human creativity emerged from challenges. Economic collapses triggering financial technological revolutions. Global conflicts producing unexpected medical advancements. Environmental challenges sparking sustainable energy solutions. Other alien civilizations followed predetermined paths. Humans created paths where none existed. They didn't just solve problems, they reimagined entire systems of thinking. The alien observer highlighted human psychological flexibility. Most species had rigid cognitive structures. Humans could simultaneously hold contradictory ideas, adapt quickly, and transform entire cultural paradigms within generations. Your emotional complexity is your hidden weapon, she transmitted. Emotional intelligence translated into technological innovation in ways no other known civilization could comprehend. Biological simulations showed human neural networks, incredibly dynamic, constantly rewiring, capable of learning and unlearning at unprecedented speeds. Where other species had stable, predictable neural patterns, human brains remained plastic, adaptive, constantly reconstructing themselves. Technological projections revealed something extraordinary. Humans didn't just create technology, they formed symbiotic relationships with their own inventions. Each technological advancement became an extension of human potential, rapidly integrating into cultural and social systems. The holographic woman showed potential galactic scenarios. In most simulations, structured alien civilizations would collapse under systemic pressures. Human civilizations would somehow find unexpected solutions, rebuild, adapt. You are not the strongest species, she explained. But you are the most unpredictable. And in cosmic conflicts, unpredictability becomes the most valuable resource. Jawa understood now. This wasn't just an observation. This was a recruitment. Humanity was being evaluated as a potential strategic asset in some larger, incomprehensible cosmic conflict. Quantum data streams around them pulsed with potential. Each human innovation, each unexpected technological leap, represented a potential solution to challenges beyond current understanding. The holographic projection began showing glimpses of potential future conflicts. Complex technological wars fought not just with weapons, but with adaptive strategies, psychological manipulation, and rapid systemic transformations. Humans appeared like a wild card, capable of solutions that defied traditional strategic thinking. Where other civilizations would follow established protocols, humans would create entirely new approaches. Your greatest strength, the alien observer concluded, is your inability to accept limitations. The research module seemed to vibrate with this revelation. Jawa felt simultaneously small and incredibly significant. Humanity wasn't just being observed, it was being recognized as a potentially crucial cosmic force. The holographic woman's form began to dissolve, leaving behind complex mathematical equations that seemed to dance with potential. Her final transmission carried a mixture of warning and respect. Prepare, she said. Something is coming. And your unpredictability might be the only solution. As her image faded, Jawa realized nothing would ever be the same. Humanity's potential had just been unveiled on a cosmic scale, and the universe would never look quite identical again. The research module hummed with an electric anticipation. Jawa understood now that this was more than a scientific mission. It was humanity's first real invitation to a larger galactic narrative. Days after the holographic woman's revelation, official communication channels activated. Strange transmission protocols, unlike anything in human communication history, began streaming into Earth's primary research centers. Mathematical sequences that seemed to translate across multiple dimensional frequencies. Diplomatic channels went into overdrive. Military strategists, scientific researchers, and global leadership found themselves facing a scenario no historical simulation could have prepared them for. An alien civilization was offering humanity a collaborative opportunity. The core of the proposition was simple yet extraordinary: humanity would become a strategic partner in preventing a massive galactic conflict. Not as a subordinate species, but as an equal contributor. Their unpredictability was their primary value. Jawa was unexpectedly selected as the primary diplomatic interface. His psychological profile suggested he could navigate the complex communication requirements. Years of xenoarchaeological research had prepared him for this moment without him even knowing. The alien civilization revealed fragments of the approaching conflict. A systematic technological threat was expanding through multiple star systems, consuming civilizations that follow traditional defensive strategies. Structured, predictable responses were being systematically defeated. Humans, with their chaotic innovation and psychological flexibility, represented an unknown variable. A potential solution that conventional strategic models couldn't predict or counteract. Training began immediately. Not military training, but a complex psychological and technological integration process. HFY learned communication methods that challenged human cognitive limitations. Mathematical languages that could be simultaneously spoken and experienced. Global reactions were mixed. Some saw this as humanity's greatest opportunity. Others viewed it as a potential existential threat. Political boundaries momentarily dissolved as the magnitude of the proposition became clear. The alien civilization didn't demand submission. They requested collaboration. Understanding. A partnership built on mutual respect and shared survival instincts. Technological exchanges began. Not complete knowledge transfers, but strategic information packets that would help humanity understand broader cosmic technological paradigms. Each transmission was a puzzle, requiring human creativity to fully comprehend and utilize. HFY became the bridge. His research module transformed into a complex communication hub, connecting human potential with extraterrestrial strategic requirements. Every transmission revealed new layers of possibility. The conflict they were preparing for wasn't just technological. It was a multidimensional challenge that required psychological adaptability, technological innovation, and a willingness to approach problems from completely unexpected angles. Humanity's historical ability to transform challenges into opportunities became their primary weapon. Where other civilizations would calculate, humans would imagine. Where structured responses would fail, human creativity would find solutions. The alien civilization saw humans not as a young, developing species, but as a dynamic, evolving potential. Their chaotic nature was their greatest strength, their inability to accept limitations their most powerful characteristic. As preparations continued, HFY realized this was more than a diplomatic mission. This was humanity's first true step into a larger, more complex universal narrative. No longer just observers, but active participants in cosmic developments. The research module continued its silent drift through space, now a symbol of humanity's transformative potential. Each system modification, each incoming transmission, represented a step towards a collaborative destiny that no single civilization could have predicted. Something extraordinary was coming. And humanity would face it not with fear, but with its most fundamental characteristic, an unbreakable spirit of innovation and hope. The universe was watching. And humanity was ready. The interference was becoming more direct, more intentional. Whatever was watching him was no longer content with passive observation. It was actively engaging, probing, testing the boundaries of human technological understanding. As the days passed, HFY realized he was part of something much larger than a simple research mission. These artifacts, these subtle interferences, were a form of communication. A complex, multi-layered dialogue being conducted through technology, beyond traditional linguistic barriers. The cosmic darkness outside seemed to pulse with anticipation. Something was coming. Something was preparing to make contact. And HFY was at the center of this extraordinary moment of potential first contact.